Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the late pick 4 at Belmont Park on Belmont Stakes Saturday with the Grade 1 Manhattan. We're going 1.25 miles on the inner turf. Some of the best turf horses in North America congregate for the Manhattan each and every year. Bet the race with a DRF Bets account. Better yet, Bet Exactas, a 10% Exacta winners bonus. All Belmont Stakes Racing Festival meeting, Thursday through Saturday, mobile users only. Go to bets.drf.com for the details. This is a great field for the Manhattan. Should be just a super betting race. And you've got arguably the best horse in the country is the 7-5 morning line favorite. That's the number 8 Bricks and Mortar. Trained by?
Let me guess. It's a turf grade 1. It's got to be Chad Brown.
Chad Brown. 8 of 10 lifetime, never off the board, returned off of a year-plus layoff with no rust whatsoever, winning 4 races, all with triple-digit buyers, including the Pegasus World Cup turf, including the Muniz Memorial, a race in which there really was not a lot of pace. He had to be taken out of his game, and he still got it out. And last time out in the Turf Classic, where he just eased out and ran down Kurban in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about this horse? He's just real good. He's already won 2 grade 1s this year. He's looking for a third here. Based on the 4 races that he's run since Chad brought him back, I mean, he's just going to be a handful in this race. He's so good, and as you pointed out, they had to take him out of his game a little bit at Fairgrounds. He was still able to do that. Last time, he was able to do, more or less what he wants to do, which is, sit a little bit off the pace, come clear in the stretch, and then just storm down the center of the track, which he did in there. He was really impressive last time. He's way the horse to beat.
You a little worried about the 10?
I'm not. Are you?
Not really. 1 at 9.5. I mean, with this
that.
horse, it just seems like he fires each and every time. I want to look at the time form U.S. pace projector for this race. We've got the 6 out there on the early lead, and that's Bandua. And I'm not sure. I mean, I know Bandua has speed, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the lead. I would think that the 9 Epical, who for some reason is 5th on the pace projector, might be able to make the lead. And I wouldn't be surprised if the 2 Pacho India, who was a gate-to-wire winner, albeit at 12 furlongs last year, shows more speed. So I'm going to take this pace projector with a bit of salt. But let's talk about Bandua because it's been the story of my 2019, Mike. I mean, I bet him in the Fairgrounds handicap. You were right here.
Yes, I was.
And he got a little nutty in the gate.
Yeah.
And he made the lead turning into the stretch, and I'm counting my $72.
He looked like a winner that day.
And it took a nice horse in Synchrony to run him down.
Had
Synchrony
the Exacta, right?
See,
with the favorite? Yeah, the Exacta.
And then Synchrony came
right?
back to run third in the Muniz with the 100 buyer speed figure. Now, Jack Sisterson understandably tried dirt in his last 2 starts. He's got a little bit of dirt pedigree, and I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually go back to the dirt because he ran well enough in the New Orleans handicap and then caught a wet track. But he is a solid turf horse that can get 1.25 miles, and if he's not out on the lead, he's going to be close.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he's going to be on the lead, but he will be up close in this race. He can get a nice trip in here. The last time he ran a turf, we ran that 99. Listen, I guess it puts him in the mix somewhere. We'll see. He will have to do better than that against this field, but maybe he can do it.
Kurban is the kind of horse, I think, where you're getting a little bit tired of his act. Kurban added blinkers for the Turf Classic, and I think it was a good move on 2 fronts. A, he showed a little bit more early interest in the race. B, his lead changes were a lot smoother when he got into the stretch. But that being said, didn't he just have a perfect trip, saving ground in behind the lead, eased out, had a big look at it in the stretch, and Bricks and Mortar ran right behind him?
Yeah, listen, I mean, there's no disgrace in getting run down by Bricks and Mortar. As far as I can tell, everybody gets run down by Bricks and Mortar. So, there's no problem with this horse getting beat by him. It's just one of those situations where he wins the Baruch in his stateside debut by a nose. And since then, it's nothing but seconds and thirds. And, it's not like you're talking about a horse who's got all these big excuses where you're like, wow, Kurban, if he just got a little lucky there, he would have won. He gets lucky in his races. He gets really good trips, and he's just not quite good enough to win. He's multiple grade 1 placed. He fits well in this race, Dan. I've had enough of him.
I know that Chad's Raging Bull is adding blinkers, and it's been a good move for Chad in this race in the past. I think he won with blinkers on with Slumber a few years ago, but is he really going to be third ahead of those other speed horses that we mentioned? If it is, I think it's a really good sign for Raging Bull, who in the Turf Classic eased to the outside, looked like he was coming with the run, and I just think, A, we got a little tired, and B, I think that turf course was a little testing for him. 3rd start of the form cycle, blinkers on. There are a lot of things to like from an angle perspective, which I know you never like, but it's Chad at a price.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff, though. I mean, I think he actually ran pretty well in the Turf Classic last time. He didn't have a big excuse in there. He is, for whatever it's worth, he is a horse who likes cutting the ground. So, catching that kind of turf course isn't supposed to hamper this horse. but I do think he ran pretty well in there. Do I think if he runs any one of his last, 3 or 4 races that it makes him a really big contender in here? No, he's going to have to improve to beat this field, but he's a lightly raced 4-year-old. He's supposed to be headed the right way.
Jim Cassidy's done a really nice job with the Southern California-based number 9 Epical. I liked his now-winners of 2 other than win back in December with a 96 buyer. He ran well from off the pace in the San Marcos. I mean, the San Luis Rey couldn't have gotten much easier, where he just got an easy lead, but he did beat a decent horse in Marquis Water that day. In the Man of War, he didn't make the lead, and he kind of ran evenly. I wonder if that's the best he can do against the sort of the creme de la creme of the division, but I think Tyler Bass has got to be aggressive and try to make the front.
I do too. They should send him to the lead in here. I mean, he couldn't make the lead in the Man of War last time. They were flying on the front end. I mean, the pace was way too fast for him. That's not going to be the case in this race. This horse should be on the lead in here.
Pacho India might also be close. 2 starts back, he won the Grade 3 Stars and Stripes going gate to wire. It was a 1.5 mile race. He got an easy lead. They weren't going fast. They ran him in the Arlington Million, and listen, he ran a lot better than many people expected to be 4th at 36-1. The big question is, where the heck's been he? Pacho India hasn't been out since August the 11th. Former 40,000 claim off of Belmont. He's turned into a graded stakes winner. This is a tough spot off the bench.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for him anyway, but off the bench makes it double tough. But listen, he ran the races that he ran last summer at Arlington, and he ran well in both of those spots.
It appears that there are 2 Robert Bruces lurking on the backstretch at Belmont Park for Chad Brown. There's the Robert Bruce that runs big on firm turf. Cue the Fort Marcy last year. Cue the Arlington Million when he beat Pacho India. And then there's the Robert Bruce that doesn't seem to appreciate any give in the ground. When he was second behind Channelmaker, just when he changed leads, it looked like the ground slipped out from behind him and Channelmaker scooted away. Last time out in the Fort Marcy, I was actually really surprised off the layoff how close he was to the pace.
Yeah, a little fresh,
He
right?
made the lead, but he just didn't look very comfortable. I think second off the layoff, if he gets firm ground, we might see the good Robert Bruce.
Yeah, I looked at the race that way too. I wasn't really sure what to do with him because obviously his 3 races last year suggested he's a contender in here until he caught the off-turf courses at the end of the year, and then he comes off the left and he catches another one. I don't know what to say. They're viable excuses. I don't really believe that he's as good as his stablemate in here, but he's got races that would put him in the mix.
Todd Pletcher sends out Channel Cat. He's going to remove the blinkers. The Fort Marcy was his first race off of the layoff, and I guess it was a decent enough starting off point. There were no excuses. He tracked the pace. He came with his run. He finished only evenly in between horses. But if you want to make the case that he needed the race, and he did improve 6 buyer points second off the layoff last year, that puts him at a 102, which might get him sort of a check in here.
Right, and he is a horse who, it feels like getting a little more distance for him is probably good too. It feels like he wants to go a little bit longer, so all that stuff could help him. He's just another horse in here who is going to be a price, but he has to improve.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's Grade 1 Manhattan, and you could just go so many different ways. Well, you're going with Chad, but not the favored Chad, and that's the number 7, Olympico, who won the Fort Marcy first time for Chad. Now, that race was contested over soft ground. Like many European horses, he missed the break completely. He was last. Kendrick Carmouche wasn't worried about going wide with him when he could have. He stayed in behind a wall of horses. He said, I have plenty of horse once I get the seam, and he was right.
That's all those things are true. There's a way to look at him, Dan, and say everything broke the right way for him. He caught soft turf, which he had shown in France that he could handle. So you feel like as much as it maybe affected Robert Bruce, it helped this horse.
That's fair.
1.125 miles feels like it was probably a good distance for him as well. There are just ways to look at it and feel like that he had everything break his way last time, and that's when you were supposed to have him at 18-1. I'm fine with that. I still think he's going to be a big price in this race, and outside of Bricks and Mortar, who I do think is way the horse to beat, this is really the only other horse I was interested in, so I'm going to take him on top in here. I thought he ran great in the Fort Marcy. Maybe all the things that we're talking about are true. It's soft ground, and it wasn't a great field, and Robert Bruce, who was the horse to beat, just didn't fire at all. But this horse was absolutely loaded all through the second turn. You could tell Carmouche, he could have went around if he wanted to. but he didn't, and he exploded in the stretch. I thought this horse took a huge step forward for Chad last time, and I'm going to give him a chance to back it up.
Channel Maker has plenty of races fast enough to win this one. He's closing in on $2 million in earnings, and he's in good form for Belmont, having just won the Grade 1 Man of War. And as we mentioned, the Man of War had just a very fast runaway speed up front, and Channel Maker was relatively close. I mean, he was sitting in third, and he kind of made the first run at that horse. He got to the front, and he was just able to hold off the late kick of Arklow. I thought it was a solid performance. My major concern is twofold. A, is he a better horse at 11 and 12 furlongs than he is at 10? Is 10 actually too sharp for him at this point in his career? B, can he stay close? Because in last year's Manhattan, he just got outrun off of a wicked pace and he didn't close. And right after that, it was almost as if Belmont said, we're changing everything. We're going to the lead. We're going to be closer. Can he be close to this pace?
I would suggest that pace projector that we had up there, he's another horse that you want to take his little chicklet and move it somewhere else, because he's not going to be at the back of the pack. I'd be shocked if he was. They've changed his running style. His Manhattan last year came at a time, and there was a really fast pace in that race, but it came at a time when they weren't using his speed at all. They took him back. He got into all kinds of traffic in the stretch. He actually ran a lot better than it looks. And then right after that race, they decided to go forward with him, and it's made all the difference. He's won 2 Grade 1 since then. He just ran a huge race in the Man of War, considering how that pace was. He's going to get forward in this race again, and he's a very, very big contender in this race.
I'm going to go 10, 1, 8, and 4. Mike's going 7, 8, 10, and 1 in the Grade 1 Manhattan. It is the race preceding the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes, and it kicks off the late pick 4 on Saturday. Bet it with a DRF Bets account. Better yet, take advantage of the 10% exacta winners bonus. Mobile users only. Bets.drf.com. Approximate post time for a very competitive edition of the Manhattan, 5:36 Eastern. Good luck.